Welcome to this episode of the Building Texas Show. I'm excited to be in Pampa, Texas, up in the Panhandle, and talking to Mayor Mike Borger today and learning what is going on in Pampa, Texas in 2025.
Yeah, Justin, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk about Pampa. There's a lot going on here. In fact, it's kind of a fantastic story, so I'm anxious to tell it.
Well, it's been a while since I've been to Pampa, but I've driven through and stayed in Pampa a few days, and it's a city that has a long history. It's been a key driver since the train came through, but there's a lot of farming and agriculture. Of course, there's oil and gas, but I'm seeing the EDC from Pampa really talk about the opportunity. I'm seeing Clarendon College there in Pampa. So I see a lot of excitement happening.
Yeah, there definitely is. I was fortunate to be asked to run for mayor, and I wasn't sure about that, so I became mayor back in June. And I'm telling you, since that time, it's just been incredible. And I was the long shot to ever get elected mayor because my last name's Borger, and that's kind of our rivalry town, about 25 miles from here. And in fact, that is connected to my family. I never lived there, but my granddad's cousin, Ace Borger, actually founded the town of Borger, and about the same time Pampa was formed, and it all started out of an oil discovery here in this area. And so, but Pampa's really got a really rich history, and a lot of great things have happened in Pampa, Texas.
So Pampa's about 20,000 people now, which is bigger than I think most people would consider a panhandle town to be, that isn't Amarillo or Lubbock. But what takes people out to Perryton? What do they do there?
Well, Pampa is just kind of a unique place. Like you said, size-wise, we're bigger than you'd expect, and it's kind of hard to find a place like Pampa. But we do have so many things going for us here. Of course, the oil business here was big, and that was kind of our legacy industry. But and we still have a lot of that. We've got firms here, Hunting and SWM, that make perforation guns. And when all the drilling went to horizontal, instead of perforating 100 feet, they're perforating a mile. That became a big business, and both those companies work pretty much 24/7, sending perforating guns all over the world. But we've got Cabot here, which is kind of a legacy industry that makes carbon black, and also we've got a lot of midstream oil and gas business, a lot of pipelines that run through here, gas lines. We have a company called ProMan that makes methanol, which is kind of unique, but they're a great business. And but what's really cool is now we're with all these legacy businesses that somewhat have shrunk because of the oil decline here just over time. But now we're getting into new technology, and it's pretty exciting. In fact, I would say there's more happening in a 60-mile radius around Pampa, Texas than perhaps anywhere in the United States. And it's the data centers, and it's wind and solar, it's new technologies, things like that. So we're really excited about what's going on. I think 6 months from now, Justin, Pampa will be really different. It's great now, but we're growing so fast already.
Well, I applaud the work of people like the Pampa EDC and the Chamber of Commerce, because they are promoting it through that regrowth and through those new industries coming in. The tagline of sunshine and growth is really their focus.
Yeah.
And that has to speak well to solar providers, wind producers, but then the innovation hubs that are coming, because you have space, you have land, you have people, and that's going to attract people that are looking for those resources, especially in a place that gets 250 plus days of sunshine.
Right. Yeah. Those are our kind of hidden resources that nobody ever thought about. The wind here, of course, always blows. The sun shines most days. And now, lo and behold, those are valuable assets. And renewable energy is very important these days. And the fact that we can produce a lot of renewable energy right here locally, plus, as I mentioned, we have midstream operations. Here's a lot of gas pipelines running through Pampa area. and so we can use wind and solar, and then back up with gas turbine generators. So it's ideal for new electrical generation, and more every day all over the world. Generating electricity is a big deal.
Well, and you have a great high school there. Your kids are graduating from high school. Where do they go, and what's the next step for those kids coming out of high school in Pampa?
Yeah, that's a great question. That our kids largely over the last say 10, 15 years especially have not stayed in Pampa. And they can go to Clarendon College as you mentioned here and get some degrees that they can make money with. But largely they've moved out, and so that's one of the things that's kind of our initiative. One of them is to create careers here where those kids, even out of high school, can learn a trade that's valuable, and they can earn a really good living, and not just a job, but a career where they can move up. And so these data centers are providing that, and we're in the midst of a large $130 million improvement project to our Pampa schools, plus the additional tax revenue that the data centers are going to bring in and pay. We're going to have the finest schools anywhere. We've had great schools for a long time, but new facilities and a new career and technology education center is being built out of that $130 million upgrade. And so I expect in the future a lot more students who graduate will stay in Pampa.
Well, that's always my goal. When I see a community like Pampa, you have legacy landowners, you have legacy business owners, and when that next generation leaves, it puts all of that in transition. And for the Panhandle at large, there's a lot of that happens. But I am seeing a renaissance of such in the Panhandle. Lubbock, Amarillo are really attracting new types of business as well. So it's great to hear that cities the size of Pampa are also seeing that benefit.
Yeah.
Data centers are interesting because you're talking a lot about infrastructure. And when I think about these cities that are as old as Pampa is, that infrastructure can be key. And you're finding ways through these abatements and relationships with the data centers to make that investment. So that's really encouraging.
Yeah, it is great. And, there's a lot of communities with misinformation have not been favorable to data centers, but thankfully our EDC and our county commissioners and our city commission, we've researched it, and we know what we're dealing with, and there's a lot of scare tactics. They're going to take all the water and things like that are just simply not true. Folks that are investing billions in our area obviously know that we have limited water, and data centers require a lot of cooling, but it'll be done with coolant rather than water. And so it's very doable, very got a promising future in our area.
Well, all of that sounds really exciting, and I'm on the professional side of what's going on in Pampa, but I also see you doing a lot of events. I see your chamber broadcasting out to come visit Pampa,
Yeah.
and that's interesting to me because there are a lot of people that live within a 250-mile drive of Pampa. Do you see them coming and staying in Pampa for events or for
Yes.
concerts, etc.?
Yeah, in fact, they're doing that. We have several events throughout the year, and just in our immediate region, I like to call it the Pampaplex. Pampa's kind of a hub where people come from all around. About double the population of Pampa come to Pampa for events, shopping, and attend church here and things like that. And so there's that. But then we have Pampa Fest annually, which will have a big name act there, and it draws people from out of state. And so that's been really good. We like right now too, we have just cool things going on, like celebration of lights that the city of Pampa actually does at Recreation Park out here, and it is a fantastic Christmas light show and is totally free. So it's quality of life thing is amazing. And of course, that guitar behind you there reminds me that we're the home place of Woody Guthrie as far as him learning guitar. There's a place here on our main street that's an old drugstore that sold Woody Guthrie his very first guitar. And now that's become the Woody Guthrie Folk Music Center. And there's a jam session every week there with locals. That's kind of amazing. And then pretty much every month, maybe twice a month, there'll be pretty famous people like Bob Livingston, for instance, who's very famous in the state of Texas. He's played there. It's a small venue, but it's really cool to go hear music there.
Well, that's incredible. Those are hidden gems for sure that we would
Sure.
want to encourage our listeners and viewers to come to Pampa for that reason alone, and catch that jam session on a weekly basis.
Yeah, Friday nights. It's a lot of fun.
There it is. Hey, as mayor, what's your biggest takeaway? What have you learned in your time as mayor that was really unexpected for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm a business guy, and so that's my background. And then 10 years ago, we came to Pampa to pastor a church. Had kind of done all we wanted to do in business and wanted to do something that mattered and really help people find their way. And so that's how we got to Pampa. And so we still do that a lot. But so as far as being mayor and being in government, that was something totally new to me. My background's finance. So I understand that part of it, and I can definitely read a financial statement or budget and have some insight into that. But I think as far as being mayor, the main thing I've learned is that you can speak positively over a situation or a city or people, and if you speak life, you get life. And if you speak negatively, that's kind of what you're going to get. And so not that anybody intentionally did that. I just think they're unaware of the power of the spoken word. And so I've been really intentional on doing that, speaking life over Pampa. And guess what? We're getting life. We're getting growth. We're getting new houses, new businesses. And so that was when I ran for mayor. My three things that I wanted to do. I wanted to see us increase our median income. Just over the years, as the oil reserves here declined, the jobs and the pay declined, and so our median income is below the state average. And so I wanted to see that increase, and that kind of led to a decline in housing. People couldn't afford to build or buy a nice house, and so that flows out of increasing the income. And so we're getting that done. We have a new development called Northridge at Masilla Park here. About 30 developed lots ready to build on. They've built 5 houses. Those are selling already. So we got some new houses after long, maybe a couple of decades of not really having any new housing development here. So that's good. And then the third thing that we wanted to do is combat the deterioration. Every community has that over time. Just structures don't get taken care of, and Pampa has its share of that, and so it needs to be addressed. And so one of the things that I've learned is the city can really do that. And so we go through the process, and we've since I've been mayor, we've demolished 26 dangerous, unlivable structures and cleared the lot ready for new construction. And I expect we'll do double that amount in 2026. So those three things: higher pay, new houses, addressing the deterioration. That's kind of what I've been about. And it's being in city government, it moves kind of slower than you do in business a lot of times, but just with some patience and determination, we're seeing some of this stuff really come about.
Well, I appreciate that those are the conversations you're bringing up, because I see a lot of these cities that need some attention and they need that refocus. And I think your call on speaking positively over those cities is a great opportunity for everyone to say, what could we do if we cleaned up this side of town, if we cleaned up this block? And it makes room for the next thing that's going to be grand.
Yeah.
And that's what I see happening in Pampa. And I see it through your EDC on social media. I see it through your chamber on social media. So I applaud everyone that's in that with you and doing that wonderful work for
Yeah.
everyone in Pampa.
Yeah. We do have a really great unified team, county, city, chamber, EDC, all pulling the same direction. And so, when you have unity like that and a positive vision, things happen. And that's exactly what's going on here. So I expect it to continue. It's just really blowing up right now. It's an incredible story. I think Pampa's been kind of economically depressed for quite a while. We've had some really great businesses, bright spots here, but as far as new construction and things like that, we just haven't had that in a while, and that's really changing right now. So we get some help on interest rates, things like that. We've got the industry coming. We've got great opportunities. I mean, even like the Cabot plant is making the carbon tubes for EV batteries now. Well, that's a growing business, and then we have Keystone out here that makes the towers for wind turbines, and they have a huge contract and they're just really cranking them out. So we're on the cutting edge. We're not catching up. We're on the leading edge of what's going on in the country.
Well, Mayor Mike Borger, I appreciate the time, the conversation, and the excitement you have for the city of Pampa and for the Panhandle region. It sounds like Gray County is doing some incredible work, and it's going to pay off for everyone in the future.
Yeah. Well, it is, and I'd invite anybody who wants to do something a little different, come to Pampa, America. It's we still got, we have 42 parks here. Seems like we have a parade every month about something, and so we just had a Christmas parade. Huge attendance, even on a cold night, and it was a electric light parade, and so it's just really a great place to visit. And like I say, we're involved in all the new technologies, AI, and we're on the leading edge, and so it's an interesting place to visit. Plus, we have some good old legacy places like the Coney Island hot dog place that's legendary. It's been around, I guess, 100 years, or right at it. So there's cool things like that you can visit as well.
Well, Mayor, it's been a pleasure. We want to encourage everyone to come visit Pampa when you're coming through the Panhandle. And the Panhandle is more than you would expect. If you've never been, I always tell people it's not just flat. There's some beautiful things happening, and more importantly, there's some incredible people making it happen out there.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas, and we look forward to seeing what Pampa brings in the next year.
Okay. Thanks for your time, Justin. Have a good day.
Thank you for joining us at the Building Texas Show. We're excited to share stories from across the state, covering the future of work and what Texas is going to look like over the next 50 years. Please like and subscribe on YouTube